Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Good evening, everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minute of the Phantasm. This is the podcast where you're never alone if you, in particular, want to listen to a minute-by-minute analysis of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, because we're always here to keep you company during that, at least. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
I'm your other host, John Parker, and I can't promise that I will keep you company. I'm going to be honest right there, because I hate people.
I mean, valid, fair,
yeah,
you know.
I mean, I thank you for listening, but, you know, you're on your own.
But we are not on our own right now during this recording because we have a guest. Shocking twist. I know. Hot take. Batman has guests on occasion. We have a new guest, though. This is the co-host of the podcast Damsels Who Discuss and illustrator Gally Articola.
Hello, all you great Bat listeners out there.
Hey, thank you for joining us. It's exciting to have a new guest again.
I am delighted to be on this podcast. This is so much fun.
I'm also really gutted that I did a practice run at saying your name before we recorded, and then I stumbled over it when I actually had to say it.
You're fired.
But hey, Gally, thanks for coming on. We always do ask the guests up front, and in particular, because I know if people aren't aware of what Damsels Who Discuss, what that show is, you and previous guest of the show, Alexia, are going through all the Disney movies. And because, as I said there, you're an illustrator, and I've noticed that you put up, different sketches with each episode and stuff. I'm particularly interested in your opinion of this movie, being it is an animated piece, and also whatever history you might have with the film and Batman the Animated Series in particular, and if it was in any way like an influence on you, or what is your history with this whole to-do that we got going on here?
Oh, let me tell you. I have a degree in comic books, and I'm not even being facetious. I actually got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in sequential art, so...
Oh, amazing.
Wow. Yeah. I used to do a little bit of work for Marvel Comics. Sadly, never broke into the DC side of things, but that doesn't mean I wasn't a fan, of course.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're here to reveal you hate Batman. It's fine.
I do. I hate Batman. He is my least favorite DC superhero. I'm all about, I don't know, Green Lantern or something like that. No.
To be fair, we have a guest who comes on every season, and she hates Batman.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Oh my gosh. I
think we just do it to annoy her now.
This is her penitence. Nice.
You have to come on every year and explain exactly why you hate this version of Batman as well.
Yeah,
it's amazing. But I actually do. I love Batman. I'm a big Batman fan. I'm especially a fan of the animated series. I was a pop culture kid, and I loved watching. Apparently, I loved watching anything that had the animated series in it. So Batman, X-Men, Superman, all of those were totally my childhood.
I think had a the animated series after
Godzilla.
It as well.
Yeah, it's just all of them. So and actually for Batman in particular, the animated series definitely had a huge influence on my personal illustration life because I love Bruce Timm's character designs. So this is all convalescing into something, I don't know, dark and bat-shaped.
But do you remember the first time you saw Mask of the Phantasm then?
So this is the fun part. I first saw Mask of the Phantasm when I watched it for this podcast.
Ooh.
Hey.
That seems to be the way too, because it's we've had loads of people on who are big fans of the animated show. And big fans of Batman in general, and we always have the thing. We're Mask of Phantasm regarded as one of the best And yeah, a lot of people are coming on still going like, yeah, the first time I saw it was for people who were like hardcore Batman people. Hadn't watched it until they came on for this season. So
it's a surprise, isn't it? Because you can understand, like, let's say general moviegoers. You're like, okay, well, it's a weird old animated short kind of movie, from. But I think when you're talking to other like comic book fans, not just Batman fans, but people who are into comics and animation, you just assume, they've all seen this.
Yeah, totally.
And it's like, no. In fact, quite a good portion of the guests throughout the whole season have said the same thing, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. But what did you think of it then, Gally? Like now, after all this time, because I'm assuming you might have heard rumblings about its like stellar reputation amongst like the Batman fan base and stuff.
Oh yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that I hadn't seen it until now. And yet it seemed oddly familiar. Like I would say the parts from the Joker on all seemed very familiar to me. So either I absorbed it somehow through osmosis or I had watched it and this was like a hidden memory of mine. But I'm going to be honest, I definitely saw the budget and time constraints that were given to this film.
Okay.
But I did quite enjoy, the amazing background art, the amazing environments that we see in some. I appreciated the cinematic quality they gave the film that you don't get to see in the animated series.
But overall, did you enjoy the story at least? Did you get emotionally invested in the whole to-do?
Yeah, I enjoyed the story. There were definitely some plot points that took me out of it, like Andrea's body shape-shifting as soon as it's revealed. The scene in particular that we're discussing on this podcast today, or this episode today, also I have more questions, I think, than answers, and I watched the whole movie.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, overall, enjoyed the plot. I can't say I got super emotional with it.
Oh, okay. That's it. No. My heart breaks every time I watch these movies, quite personally. But I do know as well, actually, just as week of recording, one of our previous guests, Luke, managed to get, because the 4K re-release of Mask of Phantasm just came out as well. Warner Brothers virtually put nothing into it. They did a little retrospective on Kevin Conroy, and then they just went on with like, yep, whatever. 4K.
Yeah, they didn't even come and speak to us.
No. But Luke,
Rude.
he managed to get 4K. He's like, if they're not gonna do it, then I'll do it. And he managed to get a bunch of the sequence directors to come on and do a live audio commentary on his YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. I thought at one point I was listening to it, and like they themselves are going like, yeah, it was weird when we got to the end when the reveal of the Phantasm happens, because we didn't have. I can't remember which it might have been Kevin Altieri who was in it, but he was like, yeah, I didn't have anyone to consult to, so I was sitting there going like, should she have a man's body on Andrea's head, or should it be like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, would that look too strange? Or
I mean, I think I brought it up at the time, but I'm guessing it was like the suit was padded. So when she removes, it depends what she's removing, though, doesn't it? Because the rest would still be padded.
I think it's the fact that she takes it. We can accept it as being padding, but it's just the fact when she removes it with like a flourish, it's like it all comes off.
She just completely transforms. Yeah, it's insane.
I think it was just made to be like, no, I made the executive decision because no one else was there. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go and do. She now looks like Andrea with just because otherwise it will look weird that she's got like Arnold Schwarzenegger's body with Andrea's head. So.
I think we're smart enough to know what's going on.
Well, but yeah. We are in here today to talk particularly about minute 72 of Mask of the Phantasm, and it opens with a brooding bat, and it ends a minute later with, get this, they push the boat out for it. It ends with a brooding bat as well. Batman doing his favorite pastime. He's right back at home doing what he does best. But yeah, I now was being sincere there though when I said I got emotional during these minutes, because I am, because I grew up with this movie, so like I'm in the bag for all of it really. And yeah, the shot of Bruce standing by himself and then panning back and seeing Alfred standing looking at him. and just the heartbreak there, and that Shirley Walker score was just like, this does get me, hits me, as the kids used to say. I'm sure it's like that's old man speak now, but hit right in the feels. That's what people used to say on the internet.
Back in the old days.
That's what's back before you got criticized for sending GIF reactions. Now apparently the kids all hate that. That's an old man thing to do. But
that'll just make me do it more.
I love that shot. And just particularly just it's all down to the score in particular. But like just knowing that the lead in was Alfred saying like, what is it? And Bruce going up and saying this thing, and then just standing there not saying anything. Imagine if they left it for a beat longer, Alfred would be like, well, what is it? Come on.
I actually like that bit, because Alfred, at first he's probably wondering like, what the hell's going on? He's just standing there. But he quickly realizes, something very private and emotional is going on. I'd best not get involved. I'll go and boil the kettle. I'll make some tea.
I did particularly love that too. I love a brooding Batman. If Batman isn't brooding, he's not right.
Exactly. And that is why I repeatedly go on about how much I liked Robert Pattinson. He's just a moody little emo.
Fair.
But it could be a sign of like the upper lip that's a little too stiff from Alfred, because like, this is your boy, man. This is your kid, basically. And you're just like, well, better stand here. And I've got some dusting to do, I believe.
Yeah, he's English, Niall. That's what we do.
It's a conflict of interest to hug.
Yeah. It's not. It's weird. It's weird at the best of times, And especially when someone's upset, it's like I might go give him a little pat on the back and then go do something else. Again, what you do over here is you make someone a tea.
Yeah,
you should go and make Bruce a tea.
And a lifetime of just making Bruce a cup of tea has led him to crippling emotional problems and also a hardcore caffeine addiction. Like it hasn't worked at all, John.
Yeah, maybe the tea is to blame for Batman, really.
He needs to go, he's all hyped up. He needs to go and get all that extra jittery energy out of him by like punching criminals in the head.
Well, that's why he operates at night, because he can't sleep.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
feel that.
Well.
Then again, over here, for some bizarre reason, there's a trend of people having a cup of tea before bed, and I'm like, why? Why would you do that? That's insane.
Is it caffeinated?
Yeah, and they claim it helps them sleep. I think you're making that up. I don't think it can help you sleep. You've got like addicted to having it at a certain time, maybe. So your body needs it.
Yeah, it's gonna be like Alfred at one point then will try to... Well, that's the thing, that you think he could spare the world Batman if he switched Bruce to decaf, like quietly.
Yeah, sneakily. Yeah.
I don't know how good that would be, though. Because, Batman would still try to fight crime, but then he would just be Loki.
Yeah.
Well, I think you said Loki for a second there as well. Like, this is your Marvel creeping in all over our perfectly good DC over here, guys.
I just can't help
You're
it.
You're the one dropping it in there, Niall. Oh, you've been undercover this whole time.
I did do a Stan Lee impersonation at one point on the show for one of the outros. So,
Ooh, Excelsior.
That was it. Not quite that, but along the same lines.
You had to say Excelsior, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That ended with Excelsior 100%. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I just wonder, though, every time the signal goes up, then it'll just cut to Bruce just like snoozing in his chair. Like, oh, thank goodness. It's 8 p.m. and he's out.
That's our aged Batman.
So are we all on the same page with this as well? Like when he finds the locket, the general mood and atmosphere, it's actually very depressing.
Yeah.
Because at first I thought it was trying to be like, my initial reaction was, it's showing that like hope exists for them. And I was like, no. It's the opposite. It's basically saying like the two of them, they can't be together now. This is to remember me by or whatever. And see ya. Both of us have to go our separate ways forever and ever. Great. It's what a downer.
Yeah, I mean, it gets even more of a downer like as the minute goes on when you see like what Andrea is wearing. Like she goes full drama llama with this. Like this is in terms. We'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, we do get like our last moments with well, actually we do see Bruce at the end of the minute. But I did note though again in that commentary, they brought up a thing that I didn't realize at the time because again I saw this when I was a kid and I was like, well, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Apparently they had a hard rule in like the show that Batman was to never be shown like uncowled. Like Bruce Wayne would be as Bruce Wayne, and then when he's in the suit, the mask is always on because they wanted to be like they thought it would help like mythologize him a bit. I'd be like, no, when he's in there, he's Batman. There's no like casual flipping the thing back, the hood off and stuff. And apparently, yeah, there's like if you watch the show, he never does it. He never does it unless it's like a huge event. And this was supposed to be. That's why in this moment they're like, we're letting it happen. He's in the bat suit, but he's taking off the mask because it's that seismic an event for him.
Yeah,
he's emotionally vulnerable.
Yeah. And again, it's not like a split of the personalities because there's the Bruce side and there's the Bat side. And this time, no, he's pained on both sides this time. Literally, Bruce and Batman are as emotionally devastated as each other. So,
you're making me feel even worse. This is meant to be fun.
Don't you worry, John. We're going right to the party boat that's underway out there on the.
Woo! Looks like Mini Titanic. Yeah.
Well, this is where I'm not quite sure if I looked away for half a second and missed it. Why is there a party boat and what party is happening?
Well, that was one of my questions. It's like, what party do we think is happening? Like, it is just, and that's because it's Gotham. It could be like, oh yeah, this is considered international waters, so this is just like a debaucherous orgy casino boat or something. Just like everybody.
Andrea is out there like with the rest of the crime syndicate who are just gambling on the ocean. That's what it is.
But it's got to be something like that, right? Because you could show her like leaving on a boat and you'd be like, okay, yeah, I get it. But to actively show us that it's a party boat.
Yeah.
They made that choice for some reason.
They even noted it's a ballroom. She's on a boat with a ballroom.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's very strange. I can't.
Maybe she was just like, I don't know, maybe going off to the orgy boat would lift my spirits a bit. And when she got there, like, no, it's not helping.
I suppose it would cheer some people up, but not for her. This guy seems to be having a good time.
Yeah, it really does.
I did note some other options for what the boat might be. It might be we made it safely out of Gotham boat, and that's why everyone's so happy that no one got friggin', trapped in a Riddler, death trap of some sort, or like Two-Face didn't try to, I don't know, crush them with a giant coin or whatever.
Are you saying that Gotham's tourism, so Gotham has like tourist agencies that allow people to come over, and then when they leave, they celebrate the fact that hopefully none of them died?
Yeah. And then they have the designated deck where you stand with your grieving veil, the widow's veil. And then I was like, oh, goddamn, no, they didn't make it. Well, sorry. So I think it's, I would... If something like Gotham was happening, there would have to be some kind of tourist trade on it, where it's like it's the home of Batman. It's right here, baby.
Yeah,
true. I do like it when like various comics, especially, address that Batman is essentially like famous.
Yeah. That's to say, the most minor thing will become a thing. Like I was on a bus today, and at one point I had to go through Ballyhonus, which is, I don't know if either of you are familiar with the actor Paul Mescal.
I am, because you introduced me to him.
Yeah.
Ooh, the name is familiar.
He was in Ordinary People, which was a BBC show that did quite well. He was in a movie he got Oscar nominated for, After Sun.
Yeah, I recognize him now. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a big up-and-comer. Like, he's going to be a big deal. Like, but he was in an ad for Denny Sausages back in Ireland back in the day.
That's what you showed me.
Yeah, and there's a bit where, like, he's like, oh, I always wanted to go traveling myself. And then he's like, no, Dad, I'm going to go traveling. And he spins a globe. And he's like, wherever it lands, this is where I'm going to go. And he juts his finger on it. He goes, Bally. And it just cuts to him on a bus going, Ballyhonus. And it's just like, literally, he gets the bus down the road. And that's That's the joke of the ad, is that you thought he was going to go to, like, Bally, and then he went, no, it was Ballyhonus. But when I was passing through Ballyhonus, I was just like, oh, he's the best wee man at selling sausages.
There you go.
Yeah, so that's from a sausage advert that aired, like, 12 years ago that I remember that. If Batman and the Joker and friggin' Poison Ivy and stuff were public figures, you better believe the tourist industry in Gotham would be like, hey, see if you can survive while you're here, folks.
I bet that Calendar Man is the one behind the tourist agency.
Oh, there you go. It's part of his scheme.
Yes.
I was like, oh, he just, again, it would be perfect for him. So it's just Batman Day is just made up holiday to sell cars and Calendar Man. But yes, I'm making up all the holidays because that's my whole thing. Like, what do you want from me?
I mean, I've seen that a lot because we're recording just around, it's just been Batman Day recently, but to let you in on the secrets, listeners. But it does make me laugh when people are saying that, Batman Day is just made up, blah blah blah. It's like, oh yeah, who cares? Like,
every holiday is made up.
It's just a laugh. It's just fun. Enjoy your life.
Wait, I'm sorry. You guys haven't seen the ancient scriptures that talk about Batman Day?
No, do you have them in the hand? Can you read straight from them?
Why, I have them right here.
You've got pages bookmarked and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, they digitized them about 100 years ago.
Yeah.
But no, I put down some other options for so it's either we made it safely out of Gotham. It's Arthur Reeves' re-election campaign vote. And he's just won again. And he invited Andrea, even though it was super awkward. So she's standing there like, I mean, he did invite me. And I guess maybe I can get a couple of free dinners out of this guy. So yeah, I'll go on your re-election campaign vote, Arthur. Don't worry about it.
Oh, is it an open bar? Sure. I guess I'll go.
And also, I guess I guess we know that she didn't kill the Joker in the end, but my fan fiction, like my fan theory, my fan canon in my head this whole season was that she 100% know that Arthur Reeves sold him out. She was just giving him blue balls the whole movie as an extra little torture method because she knows he's crazy about her. And she was 100% planning to kill him, like in the bedroom. Like she was going to come in with the negligee and the hatchet hand and be like, guess what, mother? And spray him, do you want? Well, how about some mood smoke? And then Arthur Reeves, your angel of death awaits.
If she transformed into that and put on like the phantasm mask and the cape and everything, would she keep the negligee and just have a very strange padded negligee body?
Oh, that would be incredible. Someone do fan art of this, please. Come on.
Yes.
And I hope it doesn't awaken something in me, I'll tell you. And then my final reason was because she is in a mourning veil. That she was invited out to her niece's bat mitzvah. And when she saw the word bat, she's like, oh, it's all coming back to me. So yeah, they're all having a great old time. And then she's like, no, I just want to be alone.
I'm getting more and more miserable as we go through the minute.
Well, this might cheer you up, John, because I finally get to bring to a close a thing that recurred throughout the whole season.
Oh, okay.
Because this guy comes out, right, and he talks to Andrea.
This guy who I thought was bloody Arthur.
Yeah, he does have an Arthur Reeves vibe, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They've just copied him. It's like copy and paste and just make him look a bit older, change his hair slightly.
Well, I don't know if you have anything to say about that yourself, Gally, because Bruce Timm, love his stuff. He has gotten stick over the years because he does have like, well, this is how I draw women.
Yes.
And this is how I draw all men. And I have slight variations on it, but it's basically the same 5, stock character models that I'm using over and over. So that's why I thought Arthur Reeves was going to turn out to be the Joker at one point. That's why, Carl Beaumont is just Bruce Wayne with a mustache and things like that.
I kind of like it. It's taking the Funko Pop approach, right? You've got a template that you work from.
On one hand, I agree with you. It does make it easy to figure out, oh, okay, this body type means that this is the type of character I'm expecting. But I have an art book full of Bruce Timm's drawing. I think it's literally just called Girls. is the title of it. And
Yeah.
I will fully admit, it's just the exact same body type with different wigs on. Like,
The man knows what he likes.
yeah, I love Bruce Timm's art, but he's gotten a little too samey with his character design. So I had the same problem.
No, that's it. And yeah, I've not seen Girls, but I've seen a lot of his I love outside his Batman art. There's a lot of eroticism. The
Yes.
guy, he's like, again, he did like a Bride of Frankenstein. I was like, this is the sexiest Bride of Frankenstein I've ever seen, man. Like, this is like, I never thought she needed to be wearing a crop top, but okay, I guess it's the way it works then.
And you know what? Am I alone in thinking she was pretty sexy in the original movie anyway?
Oh no, well, Elsa Lanchester is gorgeous lady.
Yeah.
But no, he gets it into like, but what if you could see through the bandages and all this kind of thing? So-
Okay. You don't need to. Imagination, man.
Mm-hmm.
I see you've never met a comic artist before. That's why everyone's in
Unfortunately, I have.
skin tight outfits.
Yeah. The funniest thing is always, of course, not so much with him, but with some others, the poses.
Yeah.
Some of those poses people have women doing.
Well, no,
you're like,
him-
that would break your back.
No, him in particular. Like
he does do them.
There was a huge uproar. I don't know if either you remember this, but like when that Batman Harley Quinn movie came out, like back in 2016 or whatever it was, there's a bit where Nightwing's tied to a bed and Harley
Yes.
she bends over in her underwear, and like
Yeah.
people are going like, that's not how the female body works. Like, it's physically impossible, the angle she's at. But it's like, you gotta see her ass, though, don't you? that was his attitude, you know? But
He could have come up with if you're insisting on having that in there, you could come up with something else. Like, Jesus.
Have you heard of the Hawkeye Initiative?
Oh, no.
no, I don't believe so.
Okay, so I believe this started on Tumblr, but the whole premise is taking illustrations of women in comics and then redrawing them with Hawkeye to show just how
wow.
ridiculous this looks. Like
Oh,
the
I've
poses
seen
that
some
they're
of
in.
these, but I didn't know it was like a thing. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of that like butt and boob pose where women are turned to have both their asses and their boobs facing the camera. Pretty big.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I need to see more of these. These sound great.
Now I want that with the Phantasm in a negligee, also dressed as Hawkeye for some reason.
Yes.
Oh God.
But no, the thing I wanted to bring forward was then, you might recall, way back throughout the season, we've brought up the novelizations character, who's, original to the novelization, recurring character of Burton Ernie.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Oh.
So, Gally, there was the novelization added a new character called Burton Ernie, who was
Oh my
at
God.
he was at the casino at the start, and when Chucky Sol's car crashes, he's snapping away at pictures and stuff. There was a whole thing where it turned out he was at the World of Tomorrow during the flashback to when Bruce and Andrea are having their date, and he was like in the background, like they Bruce and Andrea were talking about him because they overheard his conversation with his parents talking about how much of a loser he was and stuff, and Bruce and Andrea were kind of making fun of him, which was a bit of like a mean-spirited addition. Then later on, it turned out he was working in Crime Alley for Leslie Tompkins, and he also saw the Valestra apartment blow up and started snapping pictures of that as well. And then now, in the final chapter, Burton Ernie reappears, and he is revealed to be this guy.
Hey.
That guy was Burton Ernie the whole time. And it actually specifies that, I thought this was a bit weird, because he starts working with Leslie Tompkins in like a kind of homeless shelter, and to help out the people of the neighborhood who are very disaffected and disadvantaged. And he makes friends with like the kids, and everyone loves him there. And then he takes his film, he gets an advance paycheck, which he nearly uses all of to get his film developed. In that film, he discovers that, oh, it wasn't Batman at the crime scene of Chucky Sol's murder, even though Batman was there. So, but he gets a picture of the Phantasm, and he sends this into the newspaper. They let him win, like they choose him to win this like best photo of the month or whatever kind of award, which apparently is a substantial like cash prize. And then it's also all over the front papers of like, look, this guy cleared Batman. Like, Batman wasn't the guy who killed Chucky Sol, and we can insinuate that he didn't kill anybody else either. Which is neither, always up for debate with Batman. Like, well, I mean, I've seen him kick the Joker off moving trains multiple times. Like, I don't think he was all that fussed, but then he goes to hand in this check to Leslie Thompson to be like, I want all this money to go to like the charity we're running. And Leslie Thompson turns around and then books him a Caribbean cruise. And this is where they're at. This is Bert and Ernie on his Caribbean cruise he got for taking a picture of the Phantasm, basically. And ironically enough, he goes and spots the Phantasm right now.
That's great.
Yeah. So there you go. That was the saga of Bert and Ernie has drawn to a close.
Woo!
Wow.
And yeah. So that's
my favorite character.
I should note though as well though it wasn't the only little cheeky Burton reference they put in to this universe, because like obviously this is the novelization probably had nothing really to do with the show, so that's just the Geary Gravel, the novelizationer.
That's still one of the greatest names of all time.
Only second to Bert and Ernie.
Yeah, Bert and Ernie and Geary Gravel. I mean, Jesus Christ.
But
They're so good, Nate. That's such an amazing name. I can't get over it. I also cannot get over anybody making enough money from a newspaper snapshot to be able to afford a cruise. Like, I feel like Peter Parker might have some things to say about this.
Oh, yeah. That'll be J. Jonah Jameson's like, how much you paying him?
That's one thing you can really say about Spider-Man. It's quite realistic in that he doesn't seem to get a lot of money for his photos.
I think it's always a big telling point in terms of personalities over whether, like, your favorite hero could be Batman or Peter Parker, because Peter Parker's kind of like almost the exact opposite of Batman.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't come from any privilege. He has gone through loads of crap and has really traumatic events and his family die. But Peter Parker always just takes it in stride and is upbeat and uses the lessons to make him more heroic. And then comes out and he's just quipping and joking with bad guys and having a great old time. Goes to a job and he gets paid nothing for it. Whereas Bruce Wayne is just like, my parents died when I was 10, and even though I got billions of dollars, I'm never going to get over it. I didn't never have to worry about a thing in my life, but I'm going to make sure that everybody knows that my problems are now their problems. But yes, Spider-Man is an infinitely more relatable hero. And I imagine if word of this prize, a Caribbean cruise, got to J. Jonah Jameson, his like friggin' forehead vein would just like rupture altogether. I mean, be spraying brain ooze all over his desk.
The cigar would be all that's left.
The cigar and the mustache just left on the table.
Yeah.
Oh, but none of the in the show though they did also do like a little cute reference to Tim Burton, because we talked way back when we were doing the Schumacher movies that there was a very like, I'd say it was kind of mean-spirited reference to Joel Schumacher, where they had the episode Legends of the Dark Knight, and it's all a bunch of kids telling their version of what Batman is, their perception of who Batman is, and every one of them's a little vignette. One of them's very Frank Miller inspired, one of them's very like Dick Sprang, crazy 1960s comics inspired, and then there's a kid called Joel who's a bit campy, and he starts like wrapping himself around with a feather boa. And he's like, oh yeah, Batman's got like a rubber suit, and his car can drive up walls, and he's got all those rippling muscles and stuff. And the kids are like, yeah, right, Joel. And kind of like dismiss and walk off. And he's got Joel Schumacher's hair, and it's just very like, and it's a bit like they're giving Joel Schumacher a bit of stick. Notably in the animated series episode Off Balance, there's a character in it called Twitch, who meets with members of the League of Shadows, or the League of Assassins as they're called in the show.
League of Shadows is cooler, isn't it?
That's way cooler. Yeah. You think of the word assassin is cool, it's like, no, League of Shadows is way more dramatic than that. But yeah, they meet with him on top of Lady Gotham, which will then be brought into Batman Forever. And so it's basically the Statue of Liberty. But as he's up on the top there, Twitch, he's just a snitch, Twitch, snitch. Just tells everybody the scoop on the street. He sounds like Joe Pesci, but he looks exactly like Tim Burton. And it's very notable that like the League of Shadows guy punts him off the top of the statue into the water, as if making a statement from the show people, going like, we're getting rid of your crap, Tim. Like, this is our baby now. this show wouldn't exist without Tim Burton's Batman, but there is a little bit of like, we took it, now get out of here, man. They just toss him off the whole thing altogether. We're doing our own show now.
Poor Timmy.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say it because I'm going to jinx it.
Nah, no, you've got to now. Come on.
No, I'm almost getting hope that Beetlejuice 2 might turn out okay. Because Tim Burton, this past couple of weeks, has been out ripping the arse out of Disney.
Saying
I did how much, saying how much he hated making Dumbo and all that stuff, and I never should have done that. And now he's been out talking about, Beetlejuice 2, I'm going back to basics. There's loads of puppets in it, a lot of stop motion stuff. I'm going back to my roots.
Everyone says that. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, and we reviewed all Wednesday, and to be fair, Tim Burton's episodes were the best. But the show itself was very
it was okay. Yeah.
So, but I did with him saying that, I'm like, I get Hawkeye again. I had the Hawkeye meme of like, don't do that. Don't give me hope.
He was not best pleased with them using his Batman universe for the Flash.
Yeah.
Sounds like they didn't even mention it to him beforehand, which is, I know they don't have to, but just courtesy, isn't it?
I can understand being upset about that.
Yeah.
Although to be fair, I can also get as well, like, they might be like, we're just using Michael Keaton. Like, we don't go into his Gotham or anything, which is kind of one
but it was also his version of Superman that was to be. I think he felt a bit annoyed. Like, well, you canned all of this, and now you want it.
And basically, it is cannibalizing. It's like, yep, I worked all that, and then you came, you saw, you conquered, and you just took all my stuff. And then he, maybe I'll just watch some of that Batman animated show that I enjoyed so much. That'll soothe my jangled nerves. And then he watched the episode off bounce. So he's like, oh god damn it! Everybody hates Tim now. Is that it?
My suit didn't even have the nipples. How dare they?
Oh yes, that's the only way to improve the Burton movies. Can someone add the nipples in?
Digitally enhance.
Yeah. I want like a special edition Star Wars style. I want nipples added.
Or add them into Kevin Conroy here. It could be cold up on top of that roof.
That's what should have been on the Blu-ray.
Now with extra nipples. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's nipples through spandex quality.
Well, to be fair, if it is spandex, you're going to be seeing nips.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh totally. 100%.
Those nipples will be peeking through. Like it's a tight kind of material, and you're right. He's going to be cold up there on the rooftop.
You think he gets self-conscious and he's like, he puts like little plasters over them or something so he doesn't get any.
Ooh, he wears pasties. He has little pasties in the shape of the bat symbol that he puts on.
Oh my god.
Yes. It's part of the
batarangs.
suit. Yeah.
Or he could use them as batarangs. He could throw them.
If he can throw them with his nipples, that's like a whole other level.
Whoa, that's his act. That's his burlesque sort of thing.
Yes.
That's getting into Brave and the Bold kind of material. That would have been we're bringing back the show for one episode so we can do that.
This is Batman After Dark material.
We've genuinely joked about doing a podcast called that.
Well, Batman's always in the dark, so it should be technically, if you want to do it for one like Bruce Wayne's asleep, it would have to be like Batman in the daylight. Because he's not around to stop us now.
That's when Bruce gets freaky.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of getting freaky, though, we haven't mentioned why this guy comes out of the party.
Oh, yeah. Smoozy, sleaze Bagano over here.
At first, I thought, what a dirty dog. Look at him. He's like, oh, yeah, I'm moving in. But to his credit, right, he asks her, do you want to be alone? Which I found, that's very nice. That's how people should be acting. It would be so easy to write this guy as someone who's just a pest.
Yeah. I feel like he gets the hint immediately.
Yeah.
He gets the hint. I wouldn't have got the hint, though, because he was like, he comes over and he's like, quite a sight. And she's like, yes. And from that, he's like, oh, wait, back away, not today.
Yeah. No, he sees it. She's sad, wistful, longing, for something. He's like, he's a respectful person. He might be, trying to get some, but there's nothing wrong with that. If you are respectful and you listen to people.
He does the old classic move of like, as soon as he sees her, he takes off the paper crown and smooths out his hair, which is
have to be respectable.
Well, it's a post debauchery boat shorthand for like, all right, I got a singleton over here.
I think most women, maybe it's just the circles I move in, most women would be more into you if you were being a little goofy with your little hat on.
Oh man, but Gally, if you were approached in mourning on a orgy boat by some guy, what would your reaction be?
Probably turn to them and say, "Can you not see that I'm wearing my anti-orgy veil right now? Like, this is the headgear I chose. You chose the fun pro-orgy hat. Like, just get the signals." That was
Is that how you move around the orgy? Like to signal that I don't want to participate. I'm just here for the snacks. You wear a veil.
Yes. Well, I suppose you wear the veil if you're like, I'm only here for the emotional, like emo orgy side of things. I'm here for the crying room. You wear the blue hat when you're down to clown. You wear, I don't know, some type of handkerchief for certain things. Really get into all the different orgy codes.
This is a good idea.
Yeah. She takes off her headphones and you can just faintly hear something in the way. Ooh,
all right, Battinson.
I will note though, I thought it was a beautiful little, and I'm assuming it's got to be intentional. The shot where he sees Andrea, the way she's standing like in shadow, and the kind of the dress is blowing and stuff. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly reminiscent of earlier in the movie, after the Phantasm killed Buzz Bronski, and like those guys were like, "It's the stinking bat." There's a virtually identical shot of Andrea standing, the Phantasm standing in the distance with the cape blowing. And I can't help but feel they're trying to call back, like, well, it's the same character. So there she is again now, post all that. But she's still a lone, like, the thing of like, it's kind of indicating there's been no real development of her character. Like, she's still, full of rage and revenge and completely isolated. So she's off by herself. And this, I can't help but feel that was an intentional thing. So,
do you think that when they were storyboarding this, they had that scene where she's very moody and standing and off like that, and she was on a boat, and they were like, "Okay, this is a gorgeous scene. We have to include it. But why is she on the boat? How do we get there?" And that's why they were like, "I don't know. Let's make it a party boat." And then, like, that kind of prompted the rest of the scene.
It could be. I just also like the idea that she might have been like, oh, maybe if this is Bert and Ernie's Caribbean cruise, she's like, yeah, going to the Caribbean is gonna help ease my jangled nerves. That'll ease my jangled nerves. And so there could be, later scenes of Andrea on the beach in a swimsuit with the veil still on, just like, yep, this is what it's like, baby. Like people throwing beach balls at her and she's like batting them back, but she's still just standing with the head down and the black lace across her eyes. But no, I guess I did take some notes here on because she is wearing, this is the big drama of Andrea. She's outright wearing like a mourning veil. Like,
yes.
Mm-hmm. The traditional. Did either of you guys know anything about mourning veils or?
No, this is normally the exact kind of thing I would look up, isn't it? And I didn't. The only thing I've got connected to the veil really is that this dialogue in the draft is slightly different. He kind of addresses it because he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Have you lost someone?" And she just responds, "Yes."
Yeah.
Which that's referencing the fact she's got the veil on. Because at first I was like, well, why does he think that? I was like, oh wait, veil.
Yeah, that might be why they changed it. Because they might be like, maybe people won't get why he says that. Like, because if you don't know that it's because she's got a mourning veil on, it's incredibly clumsy dialogue. Like, have you lost someone? Yeah. It's just they want to set up the fact of her saying, yes, I have. Whereas, do you want to be alone? I am. Can be like,
that's so emo again, isn't it? I am. Oh,
I really want to try to figure out a way to use that as a response. Like when someone just comes up to you and is like, "Can I get you a drink?" You can't really respond with "I am" to that, but you have to like. It is such a fun like. Oh, that's such a strong way to respond.
It's amazing.
But no, I just got something. The mourning veil is, and every time I think it's not a veil you wear in the morning, it's a veil you wear while mourning, and it's a very Victorian thing apparently. Like even Andrea herself being American and whatnot, it's very associated with Victorian England. And then, of course, the Victorian mourning veil was more than just a simple black lace face covering. It was made of black, creepy fabric. It's like crepe fabric.
I was going to say,
okay.
what?
I was doing a little What We Do in the Shadows reference.
It was a bit. I thought you just messed up.
Give me some creepy paper.
Creepy paper.
It's crepe paper. And according to etiquette maven Emily Post, the veil had to be long enough to come to the bottom edge of the skirt as well as down her back. And it had things like, I think it's associated with Victorian England because Queen Victoria in particular wore her mourning veil for 40 years.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say she kept that thing on basically the whole time.
Yeah, after her husband died, Prince Albert, he wasn't in a can, but he was in the ground. That was a joke I always heard in American things. Like, do you have Prince Albert in a can? I was like, what is this reference? I don't know what the hell this is.
Yeah.
But I know apparently. Gally, do you know the whole Prince Albert in a can thing? Or?
As an American, I understand Prince Albert references, but not in a can. I never understood that either.
Oh, I just know it from, actually, because we keep talking about Tim Curry this season. It's in the Tim Curry version of It.
Yeah.
Yes.
At one point, Pennywise was like, "You have Prince Albert in a can? Then you better let the poor guy out." And I was like, what? And now I'm like, Prince Albert is obviously a thing, like a product of some sort that comes in a can, I guess.
Yeah, it was, I think it was tobacco.
Oh,
And you got it in like a little tin.
Yeah.
I see.
See, the only, my references of when someone's referring to Prince Albert have more to do with a piercing
Ah, yes.
than smoking.
Which I don't believe he did actually have. I think that's like a weird misconception. I don't think he had the piercing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm choosing to believe the legend, quite frankly.
It's certainly more interesting.
Yeah, as John Ford says, like, if you have to choose between truth and legend, always print the legend. It's like, he had that piercing and he lived in a can. That's all I care about.
Learning all the history facts here on Batminute.
Yeah. But speaking of history facts, Prince Albert passed away in 1861, and Queen Victoria apparently I was a bit troubled because this is like, this is making me feel like respect for a member of the monarchy, because she was just like, she never wore her imperial state crown again. Because it would mean having to take off the veil. And she's like, no, I'm still in mourning for my husband. It's like, that's really nice that she genuinely loved the guy that much. That she was like, I'm keeping it up for the rest of my life.
I agree, but apparently the public and people around her did start thinking, like, she's gone mad. They were like, she needs to stop this. And she's just like, nope. I mean, this is me now.
I guess she's like the precursor to Batman. It's like his mourning veil is that friggin' cowl. He's like, I'm never giving it up.
That's what I was going to say. Like, this is a conspiracy theory now. Is Batman wearing his cowl because he's mourning the death of his parents? And that's why he keeps it on forever.
Oh my God, it is. It's his mourning veil.
Because he's in the same pose as Andrea as well. They're kind of having a, like, somewhere out there kind of moment. And because like to him in a little bit, it's like, he's in the same boat she is. Not the same literal orgy boat, but the same emotional boat. But there's a whole big list of like various rules and regulations to the mourning veil. And there's all things like, if it's a close friend, you're supposed to wear it for like 3 weeks. If it's like your uncle, you wear it for 5 months, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, I don't agree with that, because mourn whatever way you want. Like,
it's up to you. Yeah.
If you never get over it, and you like Queen Victoria, I guess she's like, her hair's starting to smell. Like, she won't take off this damn veil. Like, maybe that's the problem. But like, but if it's just mourn, everyone recovers from things differently. People might be 20 years later, they're still not even begun to process things. But
exactly. Yeah. Also, on top of that, I'd rather wear it longer for a friend than my uncle. No offense, uncles. I don't really know him.
Like, of course, there you go. You might be people like, you're supposed to wear it for your father for like 7 months. And you're like, my father was an asshole. Like, why would I do that?
Let's just clarify. Niall's father doesn't sound like an asshole.
No, my dad's a really, really nice guy. He's also downstairs too, so you better not. But there's other thing as well that says mourning veils were also served as shields. Although the
what?
morning veil might seem restrictive to modern tastes, many Victorian women appreciated it as a shield against the advances of men.
Oh, okay.
The morning veil allowed them to move around in public without worrying about men approaching them for nefarious reasons, which you never know. That might be entirely what Andrea's up to here. She's like, "Do you see? Don't you get it? You see the hat? I am Mrs. Morning."
Well, he notices the veil, and that's when he backs off. So it's worked in a way. Like, I know he missed it initially, but, so I think that's good advice to women around the world, then. Take up the morning veil once more.
Yeah.
Nobody likes men. Nobody wants men coming up to them.
It reminded me a bit of, there's an episode of Seinfeld where George discovers that when he had his engagement ring on, he got a lot more attention from women because they're like, "Oh, this guy must be like good because he's been taken off the market, so there'll be a lot more flirtatious with him." So he just like gets a fake one, a fake wedding ring, and he's just going around like, and he's just getting lots more attention from women because they're like, "This guy must be good." But I feel like there could be also like if they were still making the show, you could do an episode where like Elaine decides to wear a morning veil all the time, so she's like left alone at parties and stuff. And there'll obviously be some sort of, convoluted mix-up that results in her people thinking her husband's dead and she'll lose her job if they find out she's lying or something like that. But
I like your idea that a more modern version of Seinfeld would have an episode about a morning veil that all women wear.
Yeah, it's hip and cool these days. You're not down with the kids,
But anywho, speaking of Batman. Because we have the great, I'm sorry, do you want to be alone? I am. I tried to figure out whose voice that is, and I actually, again, think it might be our old friend from the middle of the season, Jeff Bennett. Because, again, the reason I identified him the first time around is because, he sounds a bit like Dexter's dad in Dexter's Laboratory. And I was like, yeah, it sounds like him again. But also the big revelation was that same guy does the voice of Johnny Bravo. And so now I kind of want him to go into full Johnny Bravo mode. "Hey, baby!" Just like flexing his muscles all around Andrea and stuff. There is an alternative take of her like smacking him and him doing a Johnny Bravo pratfall and then like just not learning the lesson and coming back with like zany antics to try to woo this lady. But
I need this tie-in. I would 100% be there for a Johnny Bravo Batman.
Yes, it has to happen if it doesn't exist already.
Yeah. But yeah. Then we get this whole end sequence. Everything from just everything from the last 10 minutes, really.
But this, especially the drama from the music.
Yeah. Because you're kind of like, we're kind of done with the plot, but now there's a little bit of atmosphere. And then to go from the quiet of I am, and like little mournful strings, and then just into and then just like ascending up through the city skyscrapers, past the grotesques and past all the moody Art Deco buildings to see another the silhouette of Batman there, and just it's just playing the animated series theme, but they've given it because Shirley Walker had extra money, so they're giving it the extra oomph, and there's just it's just that bit of strings, the drama that adds to the whole thing. It's just it's so good. It's just so good.
It's amazing, and in the draft script, I adore the way it's worded. Because it just goes, panning slowly, the dark deco metropolis, until we come to the dark night, dark twice though, standing on a concrete precipice overlooking the city. It's all he has now, perhaps all he ever had. The eternal guardian, without love, without pity. And it's like, that's so goth.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So this is where, I didn't get, sad emotionally with this film, but this is the part where I got emotionally excited when you start hearing the swelling of the music and you're like, yes, this is my nostalgia. This is my moment.
You finally got excited in the final shot.
At the very end. And when I watched the minute before watching the rest of the movie, and I was trying to figure out when this occurred. And it was the moment when I heard the swell of music, I'm like, okay, this is at the end.
No. Oh, sorry, Gally.
No, I loved that. I was like, yes.
Pensive pose, Batman there.
It's a classic Bat kind of stance.
It's the only way he knows how to stand.
Yeah, because he's perfected it. He doesn't need to have a second look. It's like taking selfies on Instagram. You get one look down, Maybe a second as a backup. That's all you need.
And we're kind of just really building into the proper climax of the movie. You know, we're just going to get into. But that's all in the next minute. Sorry, I had to bring you here and then be like, you get the tip of it, and then. You know,
I get teased is basically what it is.
Yeah, just next time, baby.
At least you got to talk about it, you know, and your love of it.
Yeah.
But one thing we are doing though, this season, Gally in particular, is because BTAS was so seminal for people growing up, as as for yourself as well, was covered earlier. We're asking the guests like what their other favorite shows were, and again, animated shows in particular. Beyond The Simpsons as well, obviously. And again, you've been an illustrator. Now I'm extra like, well, I'm assuming because you're doing a Disney adjacent. Well, it's not adjacent. You're just out doing a Disney podcast, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming there's going to be like Tailspin and all that stuff in there. But I mean, take it away. What other shows were you watching at the same time?
Oh man, so this was really difficult for me because as I mentioned earlier, I'm just kind of like a pop culture whore. So I was a child that was raised by TV, and I watched a lot of animated television. So I had to look up to narrow it down, like what animation was out around Batman. And I think Rocko's Modern Life, high up there for one of my favorites. It was out around the same time. And if we can include anime in there, Sailor Moon, without a doubt.
Hey,
totally
we haven't
up
had
there.
too many people say anime, really, have we? That's a surprise. Maybe they just interpreted it as like we're not counting that.
See, that's the problem. It's still animated.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I hate it when people on any side of that are like, it's different. It's like, it's not. Come on. Okay, it's slightly better often. That's about it, but not always. Sometimes some of them are terrible.
Yeah. I do feel I missed a little bit though, because Sailor Moon didn't come into my radar until I was in my 20s. Like, I never had it as a kid. So I know a lot of people will be like, oh, Sailor Moon back in the day. Like, I know of it, but that's it. I know the general kind of idea of what it is. But I don't even think it was a U.S. thing, because I know a lady who lives born and raised in England. And one of her favorite things ever is Sailor Moon. And I was like, oh man, I don't know how I missed this thing then. But
no, I didn't see it until quite a bit later. I think, what would be the first anime I ever saw? I don't even remember. I mean, the first movie that I saw anime was probably Akira. But I was young. I didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah.
That's probably smart for Akira.
Although direct Akira references in this movie as well, as we covered in the minutes and stuff. But yeah, so but were you a big like Disney head though back in the day, guy, or is that kind of like half the pitch of half the pitch of Damsels of the Sus? Because you and Alexia kind of going back through from the very beginning, the feature films. And discovering, like, hey, it might not be as the jewels might be as shiny as originally thought, kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to recollect my childhood when it comes to Disney, because despite me not describing myself as like a Disney child, I was surrounded by Disney and very into it, and watching a lot of Disney things and drawing a lot of Disney things. So it's like, I think something that I was very fascinated by, and certainly loved watching, but I didn't have the like emotional connection with the brand as so many Disney people do.
I know some of the Disney people I would never assume they are. Like one of our frequent guests, Brittany Simon, I would never have pegged her as a Disney person, but she's got like a tattoo of like the Magic Kingdom on her arm. Yeah. And she's like, yeah, I'm a total Disney person. I was like, really, you? Wow. It's just never would have connected those dots and stuff. But yeah, hardcore, like old school Disney person.
Well, that's also the thing that I find really interesting is when you think about like Disney people as a term, it ends up kind of breaking up into different categories. Like you'll have people that are interested in the Disney animation, people that are interested in the Disney theme parks, and then people that are interested in just total fangirls and fanboys for Disney itself, which that's the side I don't get. Walt Disney was not that great of a human being.
No.
But like, I can understand like the nostalgia and the magic of watching these as a kid and putting yourself back into that time place and
Yeah.
Yeah. It's again the whole thing as well. Like theme park people. We've had a few like theme park people on the show. It's a thing I never. Maybe it's a class thing because like my family's never rich enough to go to theme parks frequently. Like I freaking Disney World would have been like, what, you crazy? Like, wait, we're gonna freaking sell along to get there? Like, Christ Almighty! Like, but yeah, I know people who are like, oh yeah, it was Disneyland every other weekend and stuff. Like, they're hardcore theme park people. I was like, I don't get these people. They're just they are the Peter Parker to my Spider-Man, I guess. Where it's just like world of difference between us. But
I don't understand that, and I also have a hard time understanding specifically people who like to like come from England to holiday specifically in Disney in Florida. Like as an American, Florida is not that great to visit.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, I don't think it would do a lot for me, let's say.
Hello, Florida. I'm not a state. I'm a monster.
Then again, we have to go to Florida because we host a podcast about Miami Connection.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're obliged.
Yeah, I guess we should be going over it. Just like begrudgingly sitting through all the roller coasters and stuff. Like,
fine.
Like live from the big wheel.
I hope you find it to be like maybe the second most magical place on Earth. Saying it's the most magical might be overselling it.
Yeah, it's a bold claim.
But I will say one thing though, because weirdly enough, before I really started talking to Alexia, I myself was like, I'm going to go through all these Disney films. Like I've seen a bunch of them, but I've not seen all of them, and I feel like it's a cultural sort of blind spot to me. And then when she mentioned like, oh, we're doing the show, I was like, oh man, that'd be great. So I'll listen along as you're going. And then the Snow White, I was like, I'm 100% on board with you people. Snow White was boring as all hell. My God, terrible movie. Then I watched Pinocchio, and I was like, that was amazing. What a great movie. And then listened to you guys just like ripping the arse out of Pinocchio for like an hour. I was like, oh no, I think we're going to have to part ways on this one, unfortunately.
Well, I will say, I feel like as we get further along in the series, once we start reaching the Disney Renaissance, which is in the 80s to 90s, really the modern Disney that probably a lot of us grew up with, I feel like we're going to have a much more positive take on those films because Disney figures out its formula by then. Yeah.
So much so that now we just remake that over and over, quite literally, just like, let's make that film again. Yeah. That's what we got. But yeah, I mean, like I'm all noted out for minutes 72 that we're on. Does anyone else have any final notes for minute 72 or for Mask of the Phantasm in general before you go, Gally?
I just thoroughly enjoyed getting to watch this movie for the first time. But putting myself back into my 1993 childhood and just remembering how much joy I had watching Batman the Animated Series. So thank you.
Well, also just ask the quick question. Throughout your first time watching it, did you suss out the twist?
Yes.
Shockingly, the amount of people we've had on who didn't see it coming. Like people who I know are very intelligent people were like, no, never saw that it was going to be Andrea the whole time. So I think you're the first who was just like, yeah, knew it was coming.
I was sitting there like, I think it would be really funny if it was Andrea herself, because looking at the difference in the character designs, and then I was proven right. And I was like, haha.
Oh,
well, thank you very much for joining us. Would you like to tell people where you can be found online? You don't have to if you want to be secret, or promote anything that you want to promote. We've already mentioned the show.
Yeah, I would be I would be a terrible podcaster if I didn't tell you where to find my podcast. But yes, you can find me co-hosting Damsels Who Discuss. We're available wherever fine podcasts are listened to. But if you're only listening to our podcast, you're only getting half the story because, as you mentioned, I like to do a little illustration for these. So you can find us on social media at I think it's Facebook and Instagram are both Damsels Who Discuss, and on X, formerly Twitter, we are Damsels Who Disco. And if you want to find me,
that's amazing.
I love that one in particular.
Damsels Who Disco. That could be a side thing that you do.
Yes. And if you, for some reason, want to follow me on social media, I'm Gallyco pretty much anywhere. So GALLYKO.
Check all of that out. And as always, find us on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, Twitter at Bat Minute, Instagram and Threads is the Bat Minute because someone got there first. Who has Bat Minute? We need to find them and like break their kneecaps. And check out our network, Sleepy Charlie Media, on Patreon for bonus things, and it helps us. It's lovely. It's a nice thing to do, and you want to be nice, don't you? So help us out. And you get bonus stuff for doing so. Isn't that great? More episodes. Yay. And join us again next time for minute 73, and it might just be the last of the footage. Oh my God. See you then, Batmites.
Next time, cast of the Phantasm. Down in the doldrums at the summit of the city, a despondent dark do-gooder is signaled back to his duty. But as we once again grapple with our goodbyes to this grim gallant, who will rank first in the cascade of accredited vocal talent? We're grieving amongst the grotesques on Monday, Batmites. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
I must have dop, still fit habitane.